And we're live. Here we are. It's supposed to be done. Claudio, Ash, and Gamache. But what do you got?
You get Ash and Gamache.
Ash and Gamache. If it rhymes, we're doing it on almost time. How are you doing?
I'm doing good.
All right. You missed last week,
Yes.
Mr. Gamache, because
Yes.
you installed a what is it? A corner finder on your foot?
Yes. I accidentally turned on the object finder on my little baby pinky toe on my left foot. And it works perfectly because it finds things in the dark. It's like a goddamn archaeologist.
What was the object that you actually found?
The bed frame.
Ooh, bed frame in the dark? In the
In
dark?
the
Or did
dark.
you do it with
In the
light?
dark. In the dark. In the dark. Yeah.
Now I know that you were worried that it was broken. Did you
I did
manage?
not determine whether or not it was broken. The pain is still sort of still there, so I suspect I did break it, but I didn't go get it x-rayed. It's a pinky toe. The only thing they would have done would be to tape it to my other toe, which I knew from my first aid training. And it wasn't like constantly throbbing pain. It was just every time I would touch it or brush against it, I'd be reminded that yeah, there's a little bit of pain to be found there.
Right.
So, but yeah, I'm pretty sure I broke it.
That's
I've broken I've broken a few other bones that were like not super severely painful, but I knew that I broke them, like a rib. Like I broke my coccyx sitting on a concrete step once. That was a little bit different because
just sitting, or did you drop onto
no,
it?
I dropped. I misjudged the height of a concrete stair, and I thought it was like I was sitting on the second stair up, and I instead hit the bottom stair. So there was an extra, like instead of falling like 6 inches, I fell a full foot
Foot.
with all of my weight on it, and it just went. And yeah, it's a special kind of pain that goes right up your fucking spine.
Now I've broken a metatarsal, which is a bone on the inside of the foot.
Yeah,
Um, and now my two inner toes, excuse me, are like permanently paired together.
right. They move
Like
together, right?
they move together as of now. But I was told that if you break your pinky or your big toe, your sense of balance gets messed up.
Well, the thing about toes is the funny thing about toes is that if you lose one, be it the big toe or the pinky toe or even toes in the middle, it does throw off your balance because despite the fact that we are unaware of it, the toes, as you're walking, the toes do splay out and they do provide stability in your step, even in standing. And yeah, if you break a toe or if you lose a toe, basically, you would have a big issue with balance.
Okay.
The body's a strange mechanical thing.
Yeah. Well, it's all connected.
It's all connected. Yeah, you have 212 bones, and you need every one of them. Actually,
All right. I just got a weird warning.
okay.
Uh, there is yeah. So I'm sorry. I just coughed. That cough
Yeah.
is due to a cold. I actually felt nervous enough about this cough I developed. A little bit phlegmy, and
Uh-huh.
went to get a COVID test, and they told me that I am what's the word for it?
Hypochondriac.
No, I am COVID free.
Excellent.
Lee Gamache is saying hi, you two.
Hey, I
We had a
says,
bunch of messages come in just before we went live. So
yeah.
we
Hey.
get hi, and then hi Paul.
Oh
I guess
yeah.
and then Mr. Handsome
Handsome
Comedy
comedy
Claudio.
Claudio. He's not here
Uh,
yet.
he's
He
he's not
probably will
here. He
join us.
might not be able to join us. So
Yeah.
and Don, who is not able to join us either.
Yeah.
But lastly, we got a hi
Hi,
Mike.
Mike.
Just no handsome in there whatsoever for
No,
me
no,
or
no.
you.
Hey, you old fart.
Mhm. And that's just it. This is what happens when you age. You no longer
Yes.
become relevant in society,
Yes.
and then you
Yes. You
have to
become
mansplain
distinguished.
things.
You become
So
distinguished, though. The gray, you become distinguished.
I almost wasn't going to be here today.
Oh, my.
I
What would I have
I
done? I don't even
Who?
know how to get into. I don't even know how to get in StreamYard.
I would have set you up,
Yeah,
but it would
I
have
would
been
have
you
been
here chatting alone
solo.
solo. It's the Mike Gamache show
Yes, exactly.
on Paul Ash Comedy Network. There is I was booked to work in a
Okay.
place called Harrington, Quebec.
Okay.
And when they first, I first received the message from my agent, hey, are you able to work at this place? Like, are you available for a couple days getting to play a lumberjack in the 1920s
Right.
or 1950s?
Hmm.
Uh, I said, yeah, of course, I'd love to do that. And if there's transport, because Harrington is,
It's north of
it's sort
Hull,
of
right? It's north of Gatineau. It's like
it's south it's southeast from Mont Tremblant
okay,
and northwest from
from
Hawkesbury.
okay,
So it's kind of
somewhere
middle of nowhere. It's I believe I believe our prime minister has a summer
Harrington
home or
Place,
two
summer
there.
place there. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and so everything went. I went for costume fittings. I've been trying to grow my facial hair to be a bit stubbly because I'll be playing a
Lumberjack.
Canadian icon,
Ah,
the Boucheron.
yes, yes, yes.
And so
Hewers of
all
wood and drawers of water.
yeah, lumberjacks, and I'm
Yes.
okay.
Hey, yes, you are.
And then so on Monday they asked if everything was all set and all that, and I said, yeah, definitely. I haven't heard anything about transport yet. They're transport. There's no transport. You have to get out there on your own.
Okay. Shall I leave now? Because I have to walk.
Yeah, and so
Yeah. So it fell through.
I had to
Bow out.
cancel the booking, which is a shame because my
Yeah.
costume was very cool. It was all
Uh-huh.
this vintage clothing,
Cool.
and so a
You would have
little.
swung. You would have swung a mean axe, I'm sure.
I would have. It's in my family blood.
Yeah.
My father, before he got charged with treason, was a he
Okay.
was
We're
supposed
gonna
to
have
be
to
a
go back
covered
to that
pulpwood.
because.
Yeah, and on my mother's side, her father
Yeah.
managed like logging camps
Cool.
in Nova Scotia. So
Cool.
I come from a family of woodcutters.
I have two uncles. Well, three uncles actually. Two uncles. My father's two brothers, plus
Hmm.
an uncle by marriage, who were all loggers in BC.
Wow. Yeah. In
Like
fact, where they
heavy
still
duty
have trees.
loggers, like big, huge trees and big, huge honking machines, and yeah, and they would
See,
make they would make wads of cash out there during the season and then they'd come by during the summer months, and they'd
mhm.
come by and visit everywhere, and they'd go off on a like a 3 week bender.
Adventure holidays. And
Yes, that was their holidays. Have a good
see, the
holiday. I
thing
don't know.
is,
I was
my
drunk
family
most of
was
the time.
better at
Yeah,
it
yeah,
because we
yeah.
don't have any big trees left
Oh yes,
on the
that's
East
true.
Coast.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have proven that we are much more successful.
Well, there's still logging in Nova Scotia, in not Nova Scotia, in New Brunswick. There's still log
Oh,
camps
there's
in.
yeah, but there it's all like it's mainly pulpwood. There's no old
Mhm.
growth forest left. It's
Right.
all
Yeah.
uh, you know,
Yeah.
it's because yeah, they
What's
got
that
rid of
out?
all that.
What's the outfit that is big in New Brunswick? The paper place.
Irving
Irving.
is so big that the
Yeah.
FBI has an organized crime file on them.
They're a
Ir-
Rico
yeah,
thing.
because they own everything in New
Everything. Yeah.
Brunswick, including politicians. It's
Yeah.
not just this is joke. This is comedy. Please
Yes.
don't sue me because they are litigious.
Yes.
Um, but I have to say though, I mean I no longer will stop at Tim Hortons, but the Irving Big Stop,
Hmm.
which is what their gas bar slash
Right.
everything place,
Right.
usually has great food
Okay. Uh,
and
I'm gonna have to duck out for a second. I got a ring at my doorbell just rang. Be
oh
right
okay
back.
yep. And then there was one. Is anyone out there have any questions or anything that you want to say hello about at this point, so we can chat? Lee said hi, you too, and it's down to just me. I have some big news, which I'd like to share with Mike. Oh, Mike is coming back. Mike is coming back. I'm going to wait for him to have his earbuds in before I put him back on screen. So here he is.
And I'm back.
He is back. Let's go back to that.
There we go. Yeah, that was a COVID delivery, a COVID pandemic specific delivery.
You got a delivery of COVID?
No, I got a delivery of face masks.
Ah,
N95 face masks. So yeah, because we've been using disposable masks, and we've been using cloth masks, but this new variant, they say you should actually go to an N95 if you can. So we my wife and I ordered up some N95s because we still want to have some facility of going out of the house and actually maybe even seeing people if we can. But despite the fact that we're double vaxxed, they say, take all precautions.
Definitely take the precautions. I got a message last night. Oh, what was it about your dad?
your dad and treason. See, she cottoned onto that too. She caught it.
All right. My dad was the youngest of 11 people. I've got great dad stories. Have I told you how much of an optimist my dad was?
Nope.
Okay. Shortly after he was sold to Canada, he joined the Canadian Navy right away. Right. So this is just post World War II.
Right.
For those of you not familiar with Canadian history, in 1949, England owed a huge war debt to Canada. To pay that off, they sold Canada Newfoundland. Now, Newfoundland had a what is it we have in Quebec all the time? Referendum. Yeah. They had a vote to say whether or not they would join Canada or not, and they voted to join Canada.
Yes.
Narrowly.
Very narrow.
But the thing is that no one really told the voters was they didn't have a choice.
Yeah.
They were already set up as the Dominion of Newfoundland, and they were sort of almost like an autonomous country as was.
Yeah.
But England just sold them off to pay for their debt for all the aid that Canada gave during World War II.
Right.
Now, my father joined. This is the optimist thing. He joined the Canadian Navy early on, while he was still just dating my mother. He was on a trip to South America, came back sick, and this is going to get complicated. I hope you're ready for this. This is.
I've got all the time.
If anyone's familiar with the Great Imposter, I think it's called. It's a Tony Curtis film. So Jamie Lee Curtis's dad.
Yes.
Okay, so it's based on a true story about an American serviceman who, after returning from Europe, with the rumor that he was going to be deployed, his unit was going to be deployed in the Pacific against the Japanese, faked his own death.
Right.
And then he assumes a number of identities, and one of the last identity that he's known to have done is he took a rural Canadian doctor's identity.
Yeah, that rings a bell. Yeah.
Yeah, and in that, with that doctor's identity, he enlisted in the Canadian Navy.
Yes.
So while he was in the Canadian Navy, he actually
he operated and stuff too, right? Like he did
not
surgeries.
So much. He was shipboard, so a lot of it was just like seasickness, simple things like maybe the measles or the mumps or whatever. So he had a medical book, and he would just look up the symptoms and say, okay, this is what it is, and this is the treatment. So he treated it sort of like being a DIY mechanic.
Right.
And he then, but he did win a medal because they rescued, because the Korean conflict, the Korean War happened.
Right.
And they rescued a bunch of villagers from a beach, and there was a lot of burn victims. And so he treated a lot of burn victims. So after he gets his medal, he wants a bit of more of a cushy thing further away from conflict. So he picks to be stationed at CFB Halifax in Halifax, Nova Scotia.
Right.
CFB, Canadian Forces Base. So my dad comes back from South America. He's sick. Thing is, my dad has pneumonia and pleurisy. Okay. He's got two two diseases at this point.
Yeah. Both respiratory diseases.
Yeah. And so he's looking through the his medical textbook going, well, he's got this symptom, which would indicate that, but he also has this symptom, which doesn't match that.
Right.
And so he panics. He hits the panic button saying, I think we have a new disease. Now, this is after trying to treat my dad.
Right.
And being a non-licensed medical, he's not a doctor.
Right. My
father, who's kind of built like me, gets down to like 110 pounds.
Whoa.
He has difficulty breathing, like so many people on ventilators today. Mm-hmm. And the doctor comes in, and he comes to him very seriously. He says, Mr. Ash, your brother is making the travel over from Newfoundland. Your sister's coming in from New Brunswick. Is there anything that you want us to say to them in case they don't see you? My dad, the ultimate optimist. Mm-hmm. Well, if they're going to travel all this way, I imagine they'll see me.
Very, very good. That's the attitude that got him through.
Yeah, absolutely. So, at that point, the thing is, the movie doesn't cover that. I think that would have been a great angle.
Yes, of course.
Because it's just that there's suspicions are aroused by his presence in Halifax. People think he's not a real doctor. What happened was Ottawa sent in a contagious disease expert. We should know what they're called now, but
an epidemiologist.
Okay,
epidemiologist.
To come in to check my dad because this guy has pressed the red button. There is a new disease from the jungles of South America, ravaging this one crewman.
Right.
And he comes in and he looks at my dad. He taps his chest, says, "We need to get this guy into surgery," because he knew right away. And my dad ended up having a rib removed, and they to put a thick enough hose in to drain his lungs.
Drain his lung, yeah.
And both of his lungs needed to be drained. So because of that, this guy got caught. And then in the movie, they don't say what made them suspicious, but he got caught. And then the American MPs came in and they took him by ship back to the States, but he jumped overboard on that ship, supposedly having died. Whether or not he's assuming new identities again, which because it's Tony Lee Curtis, they sort of insinuate that might have happened. He's not really dead, he's still out there. But the area of water that he would have jumped into was pretty shark infested. And my mom, who's only dating my dad at this point, but she's now met his brother and his sister, show up at the hospital to visit this man that she's been dating, to see the mattress stripped and folded in half and tied. And she's not family. Yeah. So they can't tell her. So that's part of my family history.
Wow. Where does the treason come in?
The treason comes in is a little bit earlier. Now, as I said, my dad was the youngest of 11.
Yeah.
And so World War II was happening. All of his siblings were serving. One of his brothers was in the forestry service. So he had five brothers and 5 sisters. And he was the youngest. And both of his parents had passed. And due to an incident with a bicycle, the first car my father has ever seen, and a short cliff, and the teacher, he was no longer in school. So I've got a lot of dad stories.
Wow,
he went. So he was supposed to go to. I really hope you're enjoying this, Lisa, or whoever is watching me. Know how many we're down to at this point. Yeah. He went to. He was supposed to be going up to for the winter, spend it at the pulp camps. So it's pulp logging. So they cut a lot of evergreens, etc. They pile it on a pond, and then during the spring melt, the river brings all the wood down.
Transports it down to the mill. Yeah.
Yeah. Now, thing is, my dad and one of his friends went into the parson's house, the Anglican, reverend's house. Or it might have been the deacon. I'm trying to remember, because he was also the notary, and they falsified their age in a letter, and
Ooh.
they got his notary stamp on it, and then they jumped a train to get into St. John's, Newfoundland, to join the British Navy at the age of 12 or 13.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now, you'd think, these young men are doing their patriotic duty, but it's considered treason, because if you're too young and
Yes, you
you
shouldn't. Yeah.
panic, you're not ready for the kind of situations that you're going to
Yeah.
see. So when they signed up, they got asked to verify that they had their age. They had the notarized documents
Right.
about their age. They
But it
signed
was a
up.
lie.
It was a lie. And then there was an amnesty that was given.
Hmm.
And they were shown videos of like, not videos, but film of injured sailors, of the things that can happen on board a ship.
Right.
My dad's friend sort of stepped away at that point.
Yeah.
And but somebody up at the logging camp broke their leg. So normally no one travels out during that time, and so two guys had to come out. One guy to ride the dog sled, and the other guy to sit in the dog sled.
Right.
And since somebody's leaving, everybody
Yes.
wrote letters.
Right.
So they wrote their letters, and they came out, and my dad's sisters are there. The only family he has really is his sisters. I mean, he has aunts and uncles and all that. His community, everyone looks out for each
Right.
one. My aunts are going, "Oh, where's the letters from Morris? There's no letters from Morris among that." "Oh, Morris wasn't up at the camp." And that's when they kind of clued in what probably has happened.
What happened? Yeah.
Now, one of my aunts and her husband ran. This place is a landmark. It's a museum now. The Crow's Nest, which was the officers' club during World War II in St. John's, Newfoundland. There's a very famous photo of Stalin, FDR, and Winston Churchill on board a ship in St. John's Harbor.
Yeah, because they came to Charlottetown for a conference, I think, right?
Well, no, St. John's.
St. John's? Okay.
And there's one woman in the background. That's my aunt.
Wow.
Right. Now, rather than contact my aunt, because telephones weren't really a
Right.
thing at that time,
Hmm.
I'm trying to remember if it was two or just one of my aunts. They bought a ticket on the train. They go to St. John's. They show up at the training facility. "You have our brother, and he's too young to be in
The
the
name.
Navy." And so the Navy goes, "Well, thank you for telling us. That means he's committing treason." And they jailed him.
Wow.
Now, my Aunt Phoebe, who was, her and her husband were running the Crow's Nest,
Right.
were able to pull some strings to get my dad released.
Yeah.
But he got charged with treason.
Treason. Wow.
So he was named by his sisters, because his father was at sea when
Right.
he was born. Again, my father's stories just keep on going. He was named by his sisters because his father was at sea when he was born, and at that time no one ever named a child before birth, because
It was, yeah, you wouldn't know if it was a girl
well,
or
not
boy.
just no,
and
but
it was
whether or not
bad
they'll
luck.
survive.
And survive. Yes, it's true. Yeah.
And so he went and thank you, Lee. So the doctor had to leave, and they said, "Well, I need to put a name on the birth certificate," and so he got named by his sisters, and so he never really liked his name. So
Never liked his
Maurice
name.
Chevrolet was a popular actor
Maurice
at the time.
Chevalier.
Chevalier. See, I
Chevalier.
can't speak French.
Chevalier.
Chevalier.
Yes.
Right. So my father got named Maurice, and a very English family.
Yeah.
And his middle name, and I'm trying to remember who it was named after, was Lorraine.
Maurice Lorraine. Okay.
Yeah. And so that quickly became Morris and Mo.
Right. And Mo. Yeah. Yeah.
But he never liked his name at all.
Wow.
So when he became a Canadian citizen,
Mm-hmm.
the middle name, he said, "No, I don't have a middle name," and because there was no middle name, there was no middle name to associate him with that
Right.
Maurice Lorraine Ashe, who
The
was arrested
treasonous
for
person.
treason,
Yeah.
uh,
Yeah.
who had his sentence commuted. And that's the story of my father, the upright citizen, who
Well,
ended up being a huge in community,
yeah. Well,
community building, etc. Very involved in the church and
yeah.
in naval groups in the
Yeah.
Legion.
My dad was also in the Navy. My dad met my mother when he was in the Navy, and they corresponded for like a couple of years, I think, because he was out at sea a lot. And they actually only met they they met the first time they saw each other. He was on shore leave in a little town Sorel where they currently live still. And then they met two other times. The third time they met, they got engaged, and the fourth time they met at the altar.
Those must have been some hot letters. Just saying.
I don't know. I can't vouch for any of that. But my father was also born in the United States. He was born in the United States to my grandparents when they were down working in the New England mills, because it was depression and stuff like that. They'd gone down there to get work, and my grandfather was saving money to buy a farm. And when they brought him back at the age of 2, they didn't say anything to the border people. So my father came into the country and lived his entire life, got educated, joined the Navy, joined the Navy, full pension from the armed forces. When the time came to collect his old age pension, he was told by the Canadian government that he was not a citizen. And my brother and I ribbed him constantly for a while. My brother would go around the house singing the Phil Collins song, it's no fun being an illegal alien." My dad wanted to smack him every time. It's no fun. But they sorted it all out. He was grandfathered in. Back in the day, all they had was his birth certificate from Massachusetts, where he was born. It was a parish note, basically, that he was baptized and all that. But he was born a Canadian. He was born to Canadian parents who were, not even they weren't landed immigrants. They were just working in the mills. So it was all a moot point. But when he received the letter that he wasn't eligible for his pension because he wasn't a citizen, he was so pissed.
After
he worked an entire lifetime,
I'd had the deductions taken off.
And served his country, and it's like, the fuck do I have to do to get my pension? Yeah. So
that's a crazy story.
Yeah. So everybody's got a crazy story or two from their parents. I have friends who also had parents who were in the military, and it's like, the military, it's a very wonderful institution, and it's to be respected, and it, rightfully so. But there's some major screw ups that go on in the military that you're like, okay, I'm not so sure we're as well defended as we think we are. I have a nephew in the military right now, and he's doing well, and he's working. I think he's working in some sort of secretive spy shit or security system. Like, I don't know if he's in CSIS or if he's in some other type of outfit, but it's all hush hush, and I shouldn't be outing him like this. I don't know his name, so
there we go.
I don't know what he looks like.
I have a brother who's retired, but because he spent a long time in we got a little, it's hush hush, because he spent a long time on the ground in Afghanistan,
right?
And he was doing, like, he volunteered. Lise, that's not good to be.
Lise, shh, hush, hush.
he worked with like an NGO that created a civilian radio station, not
Right.
station but network
Mm-hmm.
across Afghanistan to do non-Taliban cultural
Right.
broadcasts.
Yeah.
And so he sort of got roped in the past couple of weeks
Oh yeah, to get
in
people out.
getting people out, like getting the names of the family, and then getting like special forces teams to go to their houses and say, "We're here to take you to the airport."
Pack up.
And so
Yeah.
like he was still kind of doing that.
Wow.
I do
Kudos,
want to mention,
kudos to him for that. Jeez.
yeah,
The people who stepped up and did the right thing, I have nothing but respect for them.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. No. I'm very proud of my brother's service record. He was a war crimes investigator in the former Yugoslavia, which I know
Oh
is
wow.
very hard, digging
Oh
up
good
the
Lord.
like on the ground, digging up like where their troops had gone by and there was fresh turned earth, digging up basically mass graves,
God,
so
Jesus.
they could associate it with what military unit was there, who was in charge at the time. Yeah, so he was responsible for a number of the convictions
Yeah.
that happened at the Hague after that. Just
You know who else was involved in all of those war crimes investigations? Jess Solomon. She was a lawyer at
yes,
the time.
yeah,
She was working for
at
the
the UN,
International Court.
yeah.
Wow.
Uh,
That's grim stuff. I can only imagine the stuff that they saw, because you see stuff like newsreels and stuff about when they liberated the concentration camps in World War II,
yeah,
and it's like holy shit. Talk about PTSD.
yeah. Yeah, and that's something that my brother is currently living with,
Yeah.
and my brother-in-law who also served.
Hmm.
Um, but they're very happy to have their weed prescriptions.
Yeah, I'm
Uh,
sure.
the you mentioned how great your father was at letter writing and communicating with your mother.
Yeah.
My dad, when he finally got released from the hospital and all that, he was severely underweight. They gave him like a 3-month leave, and he used that to go back to Newfoundland. And the entire time he was back in Newfoundland, like he had a big heartfelt goodbye with my mom. He never wrote a single letter. And it was a point of contention, at the end, because I'm interviewing my parents, like when my
Yeah.
mother was
Yeah.
going through chemo, when
Yeah.
she was at the end, I did a number of interviews with my mom
Right.
and talking about that because my dad's memory was a little bit fuzzy at that point. But I mean, like how they met in line to go into the Olympia, which was a
Hmm.
dance club in Halifax
Hmm.
in the 50s, and apparently they had a great time that night. It was my dad and one of his good friends, and my mom and one of her work friends, and my dad knew he had a date the next week. He didn't know which woman it was with. Uh, and the first time my mother ever made food for him,
Yeah.
she asked him, she made a dinner and she said, "Do you want some ketchup?" He says, "No, I just put that on stuff I don't like the taste of." My father could not have ketchup for the rest of his life without getting like side eye.
Yeah. I've got a little story too. My mom, uh, when because they were corresponding by letter, because and they'd only met a couple of occasions.
Yeah,
Actually, I think it's the second time that they met, because they met. He was on shore leave, and then one day my mother had heard from a friend that there was a Navy ship coming in to Sorel, and my father had not said a word about whether or not he was coming, but my mother's friend said to my mother, "Come on, let's go. We'll go and flirt with the sailors at the docks." And so my mother said, "Okay, fine, let's go." They walk up to the docks, and she comes face to face with my dad. It's like, oh, well, I guess I'm flirting with him.
yeah, that worked out well.
Yeah. So.
I had something actually happen last night. Last night I performed at the Nest.
Yeah.
I want to mention it. We've gone over our normal half hour,
Hmm.
but
This is going swimmingly.
Yeah, it is. It's been a lot of fun. I should really do a one man show about my dad's
Oh
stories.
God, yeah. Oh
Uh,
my Lord, yes.
there is but I do other shows. So I do other online shows, which you're aware of.
Right.
I produce the Love
Hmm.
Doctor show.
Right. Love Doctor. Yes,
Yeah.
he is. Yeah.
And he has his live show, which is happening tonight. And I think he's going to be there. I'm not going to be there, but he'll be there. The Love Doctor, which is at the Wiggle Room.
Hmm.
And I also I do this. I do BattleCom, which we just had,
Yeah.
which we had the
That was Jim Mandrino's show. I missed
yeah
that one. I'm gonna have
Jim
to go.
Madrinos was on it. He wrote
I'm
this
gonna
book.
go. I'm gonna go and look and check it out.
Yeah, it was a great show. It was
Yeah.
very funny acts on it. And we had and I also do They Talk Funny. So They Talk
Right.
Funny is I interview comedians and we talk about the craft of writing comedy. And this week I had a JJ Whitehead, who is a Canadian who really he started comedy in the UK. He actually had seen me do comedy in Canada before he went over
Oh
to the
wow.
UK. Now
Hmm.
he's a huge touring comic, and he wrote for the Jim Jeffries TV show, and he tours with Jim
Wow.
Jeffries all the time.
Wow.
So I had him on the show, and I ended up coming home, or not coming home, after as the show was ending at the Comedy Nest last night. I got this message. Hey, Paul, Ron James here.
Oh.
I've got a book coming out on September 28th, published by Random House called All Over the Map, Rambles and Ruminations from the Canadian Road.
Mm.
Be cool to do your show and talk about it if you're up for that.
Cool.
Ron James,
Oh, Ron
just
James is a national treasure.
national treasure.
Yeah.
And just out of the blue, I get a message from him saying, hey, can I be on They Talk Funny?
Excellent.
So I was sort of tickled pink. He's going to be on next Tuesday.
Excellent. I'll
And
sure tune that.
Yeah, tune in for that.
Yeah.
That's I don't know. He's such a bundle of energy. I don't know if I
Oh
can
my
I
God.
can
Yeah.
keep things on
Keep
on the
him
map.
reeled in a little bit.
Or do I want to? Do I want
Yeah,
to keep
exactly.
them reeled in?
Just like it's like what they used to say when Robin Williams was on Mork and Mindy, the writers would actually when they knew he was gonna do a huge improvisation stuff, they just wrote in the script, they wrote Robin does his thing.
Yeah,
Yeah, so let him go.
I would have
Wind
loved
him
to have
up
been
and
in
let
the
him
room
go.
with him and Jonathan
Yeah.
Winters on
Oh,
stage.
good Lord, yeah. Oh God, that would have been priceless. That would have been just genius stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But so yeah, I'm looking forward to that, and maybe I should put my dad stories together.
I think you should. I really do. That's just there's so much there to be mined, and it's all such just it's perfect. You can't you couldn't imagine what the stories are all about. Their fact based humor is always the best.
Yeah,
It's always the best.
I'm it's. Oh well, okay. I'm gonna say it. I was debating in my head whether I was gonna say this. So you met my first wife, Mike.
Yes, I did.
Lisa's saying I really should. My father comes from very much a sailing history, sailing like Newfoundland. They were.
Right.
He was a Bonavista Bayman. His father was a sailor. His father was a sailor. His father was a sailor. Like 7 generations of sailors.
Right.
My first wife's name was Zaytun,
Yes.
which is Arabic for olive. So it turns out I was actually Popeye. I had no idea that was the case. And,
You don't have those funny arms, though.
I had the tumors treated. There's also the thing is actually talk to Will Flynn about who's ever beat him in an arm wrestling match.
Yeah. There we go.
This guy. The other thing is with a family history like that, like going through the medical history,
Right.
like all I can find out from all these past sailors who were lost at sea, I have a predisposition to drowning. That's what I found out. filling up the medical
Yeah,
history.
you either sink or swim, and if you're yeah, everybody's got a predisposition to drowning. You just have to fight it.
Yeah. It's called swimming. It's called
Yeah,
swimming, Mike.
swimming. Yeah, swimming.
Uh,
Or buoyancy. Buoyancy helps.
Buoyancy.
Yes.
all right.
I'm not fat. I'm buoyant.
That's my safety. That's my defense. Mike, so you had a good 2 weeks. I mean, you banged up your toe pretty bad.
Yeah.
But you're feeling better. You're laughing.
I'm
right
much
now.
feeling better. I'm feeling much better. Yes, because I was just I had a rough little bit of time there, and we also had we're still doing a bunch of stuff around the house, and we have people in, and just like actually on Monday we had to not because we had a mishap or anything. It was like potential of it exploding, but we had to replace our water heater.
Water heater.
And there was of course, whenever you deal with any type of service people, it can go swimmingly or it can be a total fuck up. This was sort of like half and half. The installation was fantastic, but the setup, the appointment, they screwed up a bunch of stuff. They overbilled me. There's a few things that I have issues with, trying to get that settled out. But and then we had this on Monday, and on Friday I have a service call for my air conditioner and heating unit. So there's a few things that are happening, and there's all sorts of things. One of the things about this pandemic is that we've been very good for the economy. We've spent a shitload of money and we've done a bunch of work on our house, but because we've got nowhere to go, can't do anything basically. I've been out. I think I went to the Nest once after the restrictions were all lifted, and then I was
Claudio.
To see Claudio, and then I was supposed to get a spot in early August, and I passed on that because the variant was going nuts. My wife said, no, I don't want you in any type of situation where you can be, in a crowd situation where you never know who you're dealing with, and so I backed out of that. I respect her opinion. She's a scientist. She knows what she's talking about, and I don't want happy spouse, happy house.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Happy wife, happy life.
That's
right.
sexist, though. That's sexist. See, happy wife, happy
spouse,
life,
happy house.
happy house.
You're right. You're very much right. Forgive me for that one.
Okay.
I'll talk to you next week. If not,
Yes.
Beforehand, remember Tuesday to tune in to
yes,
see me
definitely.
Ron James.
Ron James. Yeah, I've got that. I'm putting that in my calendar right now, and hopefully Claudio and Don will be back next week. So everybody who did tune in, thank you very much.
And hit the like, hit the subscribe.
Yes, definitely.
Hit the like.
Yeah.
Really appreciate that. These little likes, they really do help the channel.
Yeah.
And it's so easy to do. And remember, I love you all, Mike.
And stay safe and do the things you need to do, all the precautions necessary, and eventually this will end.
Or we will.
Oh, we will. Well, yeah.
Take care.
Okay.